aside. So
Yeah.
I think we have to rebrand ourselves the S team, according to Neil Johnson. So I don't know where the S team came from, but I've been
Yeah,
called worse.
I always thought that I was actually following him as well on Facebook, and I got a friend's request. I think it was either yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday, and I'm thinking, I'm certain I follow him on Facebook. Friends requested this before.
He did change his account a while back, and then he went on a phase where he was just that busy with other stuff that he wasn't on social media a lot. So I think he
Hmm.
probably killed his accounts and then he's come back again. But I know he's a huge fan of yours. So I'm always every time you and I record, I always get a message going, "Yeah, he's Stu Miller." So don't tell John Fouts or anybody
Yeah,
else, but
I
it's
have that
his
one fan. Yes.
one fan. Do you still keep in touch with Andy or not so much?
Um, Not so much. I haven't spoke to him in a very long time, whether it be voice or message. Voice, I haven't spoke to him vocally
Yeah.
since we actually finished the Monday Movie Show back in June of 2020.
Wow. 5 years.
So
Does it seem like 5 years
5 years.
since you stopped doing
Nope.
on the movie show?
It
No?
bloody doesn't. That 5 year, every single time I have conversations with customers on the phone at work, and it gets brought up in regards to the pandemic, etc. The recurring thing is, does it feel like it's been that many years? And 5 years, the last 5 years, half a decade has gone by so quickly.
Well, it's like a quarter of a century now, isn't it? So we're into
Yeah.
it's crazy. I was listening to a podcast, they were saying, right, it's 25 years, what's been the best films of the century? I'm like, you think most of the films that we talk about, like Gladiator, that's in the last 20th century. Fast and Furious, that's in the past. Crazy.
Well,
Times just get
how do you
weird.
think I feel? We'll obviously get onto the films that we've watched a little bit later. And while watching the new "I Know What You Did Last Summer," because I went to see it at the cinema this afternoon, they were
Yeah.
constantly saying in regards to 1997 when "I Know What You Did Last Summer" came out, and there's a scene in the film where they mention the prom queen of 1996, and I'm thinking, "I Know What You Did Last Summer" came out in 1997. So nearly 28 years ago,
Yep.
the first "I Know What You Did Last Summer" came out. And I was just sat there when they mentioned it for the first time and think, no, that can't be the case. And
Yeah.
then my brain went, it is the case. And I just went, I feel so old.
Because it's like also like Jaws is 50 this year, and it's like I don't have a memory of going to the cinema to see Jaws, but I know I was alive when it came out. And you're like, how does stuff like that happen?
Yeah, I was thinking like my best friend is like, he was only 4 when "I Know What You Did Last Summer" came out. And
Yeah,
I'm thinking, I was 17. I went to the cinema because the manager, it was a 15 certificate, if I remember correctly, because
yeah,
Scream was an
yeah,
18 certificate.
yeah,
And I saw that because the manager knew my family. And so he knew what kind of person I was like, the fact that I was a psycho grew up on watching horror films. So he
yeah.
knew I could handle it. So he always just used to let me in. So I just couldn't believe it that, like I said, when it was playing, I was thinking, this is 28 years old. I
Yeah.
feel ancient.
Yeah. And it's like, can you imagine as a kid? I don't. We probably accidentally saw films that were 28 years old, but not on purpose. We know, like, oh,
Yeah.
what's this one? It's like 28 years before we were born. That's like, I'm not even going to
Well,
think about it, but it's
I
like
think the
40 something for me.
I think the biggest one for me was when I was 6. I watched the 1922 Nosferatu. So
Yeah.
I was 6 in 1986.
Yeah.
So that was 64 years old, that film, when I watched it. So I think that's the biggest gap for me when I saw the original Nosferatu. It was actually on, can you remember Videodrome?
Yeah. Yeah. Alex Cox from, yeah.
On the BBC. It was sort of like before Videodrome sort of like found its footing on a Sunday night on BBC, and BBC Two used to be the place to actually watch like very obscure films, and then Videodrome launched. I think it was a couple of years later after that. And yeah, I watched it on BBC Two, not the black and white Nosferatu. It was like that closing film of the night, and I secretly watched it on the Sunday night before school. And I was transfixed. I had a 14-inch black and white television with the turny dials on it. And I
Yeah.
watched on that. And so it was the perfect thing to watch Nosferatu on. But yeah, that gap. 64-year gap from when it originally released to when I watched it.
There isn't anything like Videodrome anymore. 'Cause people watch films in a very
No?
different manner now, and it's kind of a shame because it's like, as a kid, would you have thought, "Oh, I want to watch Nosferatu"? It would be on, so you would go, "I'll watch it." And I suppose maybe streaming, I guess, is the
Yeah, it's
closest
just,
thing.
it is a big negative that the fact that there is no more movie review shows on TV. However, the normal television that we know is dying.
Yeah,
You look at a statistic that was just released, I think it was early on during the week, that nearly 500,000 people have cancelled their TV license.
okay,
Um,
yep,
I have as well. I filled out my usual email once every couple of years to see that I don't need a TV license.
yep,
And so that's died, but we've got an advent of podcasts. And so while that media has died, I think now we ingest those reviews through podcasts, and I thank God for that. There's a petition going at the moment. If I think people, if they just Google podcast petition, to try and get the government to give podcasts a little bit more of a higher standard, a higher rating when it comes to media. So to allow it to be given more funding for podcasts and stuff like that, because it's actually now become one of the biggest growing parts of media,
mm,
podcasts. So more and more actors, actresses, directors, filmmakers, just normal Joe Blogs people like ourselves do podcasts these days because it's a media that a lot of people love listening to.
yeah.
And so, yeah, there's a petition at the moment to try and get the government to actually take notice of the podcasting world.
I think at least nowadays we don't have to tell people what a podcast is, which we used to. I do a
Yeah.
podcast. What's a podcast? Now people generally know what one is. The problem
Mhm.
is they are still a bit like the Wild West when it comes to the content, just like the internet in general, I guess. Everybody, if somebody starts up a podcast to talk about movies, it doesn't necessarily mean they're qualified to talk about movies. Uh,
Yeah, but then on
so
the
there's
other
that.
side of that, on the other side of the coin, at least it's getting a voice from the people who are actually physically paying money to go and see films, rather than
Yeah,
critics who was sort of like that's their job.
yeah,
I know it means that we have more annoying critics to deal with because everybody then thinks that they are a critic. I've never ever felt that I was a critic. I just,
yeah,
for the love of films, that was the reason why I decided to review films, because it
yeah.
was something I had a passion with. If I if it led down the road where I became a critic for my job, for a job, I would have loved it. But I just wanted to get my thoughts out there
Yeah.
because it's something that I do love. But it's nice to see sort of like people's opinions. I think TikTok is one of the more genuine areas to listen to people's opinions in regards to films, because there's a few horror TikTokers who I follow, and I sort of like respect their opinion because they know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
rather than just go, oh, this film was crap because I didn't like that actress and that scene, the way it was animated, it was bad. They're
Yeah.
able to actually see it as to the reason why that actress was bad or that scene was bad. So I like that, and I think I'm sort of like striking it quite lucky in the fact that I'm avoiding all these keyboard warriors who's going, that film was shit because it was shit.
Yeah, I fell right into that trap in the run up to Superman, which I've still not managed to watch yet. I've tried like 3 times, but every time it's like, right, we're going to go out on that day. Either Annette's poorly, I'm poorly, the weather sucks, there's some sort of delivery coming that day. It's like, so I've not managed to get to watch Superman yet. But in the run up to that, obviously you can imagine the Snyder crazy ones. And I am a
Mm-hmm.
Snyder fan, but I'm not one of the crazy Snyder ones. It's like Snyder, yay, James Gunn, boo. It's like I like both of them, and they were everywhere in the run up to this film. And I was predicting that the internet would explode once the film came out, and it's not been as bad as I thought it would be. They're still running around and still comparing it to the Man of Steel. Man of Steel made this much money in such and such a time, and Superman's done this. It's like, stop comparing it. Different time. Films were different back then. People watched them in a different way. This whole adjust for inflation thing, no, because then you've got to adjust for the amount of people that go and the viewing platforms. It's just crazy. But
Yeah.
I've my algorithm on Facebook just got messed up. So every time I looked at a timeline, it was just, hey, look, there's a group talking about Superman. I'm like, I don't want to know. Leave me alone. Go away. Give me cute dogs or cats or whatever.
Well, unfortunately for you, I'm going to be talking about Superman because I have seen Superman. So we'll get on to that.
I'm
Unfortunately,
looking forward to that because I know you don't do spoilers, so it's a safe territory for me and anybody who hasn't seen it. So I am curious to know, and then let's start off with that. I want to, because who knows how long that conversation will go.
with James Gunn's Superman. Yeah, so I've seen it again. I'll put a caveat on it to the fact that for me, comic book movies are not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Superhero films are not my cup of tea. I treat them all exactly the same. So it's not the fact that I go into a movie with an open mind to think and hopefully this is going to be a superhero movie that I do like. And I could probably count on one hand the amount of superhero films that I do like. So it's not me bashing Superman just because I don't like Superman as a character. It's just because of the whole superhero genre is just not for me. It never has been for me. Finding those diamonds in the rough is always quite nice. Superman as a character, yes, I grew up watching the Christopher Reeve Superman. I think most of us did. That's our Superman. No matter who plays Superman now, whether it be David Cornsweet, who is the new Superman, or Dean Cain, if you watch Superman on TV, or Christopher Reeve. I think Christopher Reeve will always be held as the best Superman, despite the fact that there is only one good Superman movie with him in it. The rest are actually pretty awful.
Oh, which one? It's obviously it's got to be number one and number two.
Yeah,
but is it number one?
It's number one.
Why don't you like number two as much? Curious.
I didn't really like number one, if I'm being completely honest.
Okay. All right.
So it's diminishing returns. Unfortunately, that's a series like, for example, The Exorcist with me is each one of the Exorcist films, even though I think Exorcist 2 out of the original trilogy is easily by far the worst. It's an horrendous piece of trash, that film. And I'd rather watch the first one on repeat than watch the second one. But with the Superman series, I didn't buy into it. And I know that sounds silly, but considering when I watched it as a child, it's the kind of transfixed kind of nature that you do have as a child. You watch these superhero films and you're thinking, I want to grow up to be like Superman or Batman or Spider-Man. But I never had that sort of like fantasy. And so when I watched Superman, I just went, it's a dude in a spandex outfit who's just trying to catch a woman, where the special effects are so awful that they need to go back. Yeah, that's just terrible. You need to have a look at films that was before it.
What year would you probably have watched the first Superman?
What year did it come out?
It came out in 78. So I saw it in 78. So I'm like, oh my God, this guy can fly. This is amazing. I was 7 years old. So I saw it when it came,
I'm certain I saw it on ITV. I'm certain the first time I saw it was Christmas of '84. Because I think it was one of the big Christmas films, like there was always a tentpole Christmas movie that was the big film on BBC One or ITV. And Superman was the big Christmas movie of that year, and I'm certain that was when I watched it. So I was in the Christmas spirit, even though I hear Christmas. I watched Superman, which again, it didn't sort of like gel with me very well, considering that I not long prior to watching Superman had watched one of my first ever horror films. So yeah. So it would have been Christmas of '84 when I first watched Superman.
A lot of films had come out since then, so maybe that was the case. You probably saw a lot of special effects heavy films.
Yeah,
which would, whereas me in '78, there wasn't really any superhero films that had people flying around that I would have seen at that time.
I remember watching, I think it was the same year I watched 2001: A Space Odyssey as well. That was the first time that I had seen that, because I think that was the big tentpole film on BBC Two. It wouldn't have been on BBC One, but it was the big film on BBC Two, because we only had like 3 channels. Channel 4 just started, so it was just trash, that channel. And I was more impressed with the special effects in 2001: A Space Odyssey than I was in Superman.
Wow.
Because that was all about space, and I was sort of like had a fascination with space. And it just, I couldn't believe that somebody was actually in space with this robot, psychopathic robot. And I found that more captivating. I found the first Star Trek movie more captivating, special effects wise, over Superman. So,
yeah. Okay.
But
I do get the diminishing returns. I mean, I love 1 and 2 almost equally, but definitely 3 and then Quest for Peace are the downward, the downward
Yeah.
of Christopher Reeve stuff.
And then obviously you get onto the latest Supermans, and instead of them being bright and brash and colourful, they went dour and just drab and oh, woe is me kind of situation. Like
Yeah.
he was a spoiled brat sitting in the corner just crying for his mummy every single time. Oh, a bad person's trying to kill me. And the worst thing about when they introduce a new Superman is they think that they have to do an origin story every single time. I'm so sick of seeing origin stories of superheroes. I'm just so sick of it. Like that's the smartest thing that James Gunn has gone and done with this Superman, and the fact that there is elements of an origin story in there, but barely elements of an origin story. Like there's flashbacks to a scene where you do see his parents, but
Yeah.
that's only on a video screen, a video message that he keeps on watching, and that's it for your origin story. That's what's so good about this one, and the fact that the universe is already set in place. It's like he's already set it in place and fast forwarded 5 years. Like
Yeah.
people know who Clark Kent is, people know who Superman is. He's already in an established relationship with Lois. So rather than just putting us as a start, we're sort of like in the middle of everything with this Superman. But that's not to say the film itself is actually good for doing that, because unfortunately, the film itself is a muddled mess.
Okay.
It's nice to see it bright and colourful. So I think what he's gone and done is he's took what he's done with the Guardians of the Galaxy films,
Yeah.
because they're sort of like they're the antithesis of what's happened in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. When those films released, they were sort of like the area of Marvel that you go to get a bit of entertainment, because you know the sarcastic quips between the characters within inside the first two Guardians of the Galaxy, the way they play off each other. The third one, obviously, it goes down some dark paths. But James Gunn has gone and brought that mentality to this Superman, which, again, I'll pat him on the back for doing, because I don't think anybody would have wanted to sit down and watch another boring, dour Superman.
I mean, I like the Cavill era, but I'm more excited about the fact that somebody's doing something or has done something different with the Superman character. So I agree with you. My favorite one is the Christopher Reeve era, regardless of whether 3 and 4 are any good. He's my favorite Superman. I can't say he's the best one because that's a different conversation, but he's my favorite. I liked Brandon Routh as Superman. I thought he was fine. Henry Cavill, I thought was fine. I do like the Snyderverse type thing, but that's a whole nother topic. And I'm looking to see. Looking forward to seeing what David's done with it as well. But it's a just different flavor. We don't need
And
more of what we've just had. Let's do something different.
that's a big plus for David Cornsweet as well, and the fact that if you watch interviews with it, he seems to. Henry Cavill is such a lovely person to watch in interviews. He's always really happy. And so is David Cornsweet as well. But he sort of like brings that happiness in the Superman character, whereas unfortunately for Cavill, he was never given the chance to be able to actually play a Superman with a lot of brightness or even just elements of brightness behind him. And so I think with this one, it's nice and refreshing to see a Superman film where it is about all the bright and colourful nature of Superman. Very similar to sort of like the opposite direction the way Wolverine went. I know with Andy, it was a huge problem with Logan, and the fact that he went, oh well, I want another Wolverine film where it is sarcastic, quippy Wolverine. And I'm thinking, I actually really enjoyed Logan because he wasn't like that.
Yeah,
We were seeing his human side, and so with this Superman, it was nice to see that colourful side, and he just brings some of the jokey elements from from the Guardians of the Galaxy into this. Obviously, Nathan Fillion has been a part of his cinematic universe, Gunn cinematic universe, for quite a few years now, and he plays sort of like one of the more sarcastic characters within inside this film, and so that was quite nice. A couple of the jokes do work, and it feels like some of the characters are more developed than other characters. There's a couple of characters which is woefully underdeveloped in this one. Lex Luthor, he's okay, but you'll see this when you actually see the film. There are times where he feels like he's playing a game of battleships with himself. It sounds very strange out of context,
it does. Yeah.
but when you've seen the film, you'll sort of like understand I'll not
Yeah.
say what it is, but it does feel like he's playing a one-sided game of battleships, and he feels like more of a child rather than an adult. Like getting back at Superman, and there never feels like there is sort of like a push behind him as to the main reason why he wants to eradicate Superman in this film.
Okay.
And so, if you dig below its surface for this Superman movie, you'll not find very much. You'll just find a bit of an empty chasm with maybe a little box or a little one of those little toy boxes where you crank the handle and the little clown pops out. You might find one of them, but that's about it. There is a couple of decent action set pieces in it. He muddles the story up too much. There are elements which you think, well, you've gone and overly complexed yourself with this bit, whereas you've made this bit a little bit too simplistic. So he ends up faltering on that front there. But overall, for the 2 hours that it's on for, it passes the time away. So it's not as catastrophic as people are expecting it to be.
Yeah, which I'm glad
But
about, because I don't want any film to fail, but there was an element of people on the internet that really wanted this thing to crash and are still trying to make it crash. And it's like, just get a grip. It's just,
yeah, but it's not like a proper rebirth of the Superman series. It's probably going to make people go, well, I'll probably go and see the next one rather than just going, well, if there's going to be another one, whoopee.
okay. Yep. So it does feel very James Gunnish.
Definitely. And I think DC needed something like that, like a James Gunn, a Peter Safran kind of situation, because they were just churning out the same old crap over and over and over again. And I know you could easily name one, but if somebody asked me to say, name one of the best DC films in the last like 10 years, I would struggle.
Really? Oh,
Outside of the Dark Knight trilogy,
yeah.
I would struggle badly because to me, there hasn't been any, if I'm being honest. Everything from Morbius to Madam Web.
I was having like an internet fight with somebody who just kept jumping in these groups going, we need the Snyderverse back. We need this. And I'm like, you've had loads of Snyderverse movies. Come on. But I didn't know how many we'd had. So I went on Google and I'm like, how many Snyder? There's 15 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously not all directed by Zack Snyder, but it's like you've got the Flash, because, character crosses over. You've got the 2 Aquamen. You've got the Zack Snyder 3. There's 2 Wonder Woman. I'm like, it's bloody 15 movies, and they're still crying, going, we want more. It's like, be happy, you've got 15 movies.
Mm-hmm.
There's not many franchises where that's more than we've had Elm Street by probably about 3 or 4 or something, isn't it? But
yeah.
Stop crying about it. Just
it's not getting anywhere near the Amityville, but
no, it's not. No,
there's actually 62 of them now, because I think there's been 2 Amityville films released in the last month.
I can't watch all of this. No, I watched a John Wayne film the other night. I got sent a screener through for this film called The Shootist, or The Shooter, it's called. And I'm like, it's John Wayne, and I don't mind John Wayne. I haven't seen a tiny amount of it. I could probably count them on one hand. But I thought, I'll put it on, and I did a bit of research. It's like, it was his last film. His very final film. He passed away 3 years later. So I sat and watched it, and it's a really good film. Jimmy Stewart's in there, Lauren Bacall, Ron Howard as like a teenager, and I'm like, it's a really, really good film. And I'm never in my life going to be able to watch all the John Wayne films, because there's like 200 of them. It's just never going to happen. I'd love to watch all the Woody Allen movies. Never going to happen, because he just keeps spitting them out left, right, and center. And Jackie Chan's another one. I was thinking, which filmmaker would I love to see all their movies of? And those were the 3 I came up with. But life's too short. There's not enough years in front of me compared to behind me. You'd have to literally watch nothing else other than whoever you wanted to watch.
And for me, I'm not a sadomasochist that much that I want to watch 62 Amityville films. I think I've seen enough Amityville movies. So
how many do you think you've seen at a pure guess?
Oh,
I've seen like.
Well,
4.
I've seen the original. I've seen the sequels to the original. I've seen obviously the remake.
Yeah, I've seen 5. Count the remake. I've seen 5 of them.
Yeah, I've seen a few of the Amityville spin-offs, but the quality of them getting worse and worse and worse. Like the latest one is called Amityville Apartment, and it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And the trailer, for Christ, it looks like they actually used their money that they got from their job seekers allowance to create it. It is that woefully bad. Like they didn't even bother to even do a Kickstarter or something like that to try and get together any kind of funds to make it. It's somebody who's got a camera and thought, well, the Amityville series is in the public domain. Let's create one. And it's out on Amazon Prime.
Never gonna watch it. No, life's too short. There's too many films I want to try and watch.
Yeah.
I'm struggling. So, what else have you watched then? So, I'm looking forward to Superman. I just haven't been able to get to watch it yet.
So sticking sort of like with a series that's had another entry just forced down our throats, Jurassic World Rebirth.
Okay, forced down our throats. This doesn't bode well for the new dinosaur movie.
Well, there's 3 Jurassic Park films and 4 Jurassic World films now. So the World films are actually outdoing the Jurassic series. So there's 7 in the Jurassic series. Rebirth, as the title suggests, was supposedly a rebirth of the franchise.
Oops.
Which in that case, there, why the hell have you called it Jurassic World Rebirth then? If you were expecting it to be a rebirth of the franchise, start your own goddamn trilogy and call it Jurassic something, Jurassic Planet Rebirth or something.
Yeah.
So this one it's got a Scarlett Johansson's in the cast, and it's got a decent enough cast. Yeah, when I was watching the film, I was just going, I like Gareth Edwards. Obviously, people getting mixed up with Gareth Evans, the Raid person.
Yeah,
Edwards, if you remember, Edwards is Monsters, Evans is Raid. Just remember it that way. And then, so, and Gareth Edwards was the one who did the last couple of Godzilla films. So it's Gareth Edwards, who I do like. He's a visionary director. Look how he created Monster on his own computer, and that is visually stunning, that film. So he's a visual director. And so you would think that he would be a good fit to actually direct a Jurassic film. And the designs of the dinosaurs are fine to a point. There is one dinosaur which looks like it's mutated with the alien-human hybrid out of Alien Resurrection. Like the DNA from the ship actually landed on Earth and mixed with the DNA of a dinosaur. And you've got this dinosaur with a big, massive, huge forehead. So like you could wipe somebody off the planet with it. And the basic premise of the storyline is the need to find 3 DNA from 3 different dinosaurs, one which flies, one which swims, and one which is on land, to be able to create a vaccine for cancer. Okay. And these dinosaurs in question, because it's set 6 years after the last Jurassic World film, Dominion, these specific dinosaurs are now sort of like segregated to a small little area on the planet because the dinosaurs can no longer roam everywhere on Earth because of the way the planet is. It can't sustain them. So they mainly stay in warmer climates alongside the equator. So a ragtag group of people, which is helmed by Scarlett Johansson, you've got Mahershala Ali as part of them, are tasked to actually find these 3 pieces of DNA to be able to actually create this serum/vaccine. That's the premise. And then thrown into the mix, because you have to, there's a family, a turmoil, which is on a boat, which is stupidly has gone through the area where the dinosaurs are, and they get embroiled in this ragtag group's task. And so they have to try and survive as well. The script is awful. It feels like it was written in a day. Like the dialogue is so childishly awful. And the way it's actually presented as well is very stinted. Like it feels like they've got an auto cue in front of them. Like they've been given iPads, because obviously they're getting shot in locales, and they've been given iPads with their script on it, and they'll keep on looking at it going, oh my God, a dinosaur. We've got to run. So the dialogue just feels like that throughout. It's not engaging. It's not scary, because I think a Jurassic film should actually have that scare there, because the first Jurassic Park film did have that tension there.
They're 1 and 3, I think, to me, are the the Jurassic ones that in the cinema, they were having you on edge. Yeah.
And so you would expect it to be part of this, and it's non-existent. It takes its goddamn bloody time to do things. Like the set pieces are so mundane. Like they're so one-dimensional and flat, which is annoying again, because Gareth Edwards, again, is that visual director, and you can tell there are elements of his films within inside this one. Like he is trying to give us some interesting set pieces, but the set pieces just fall flat. Like to try and go back to the original Jurassic Park and get that wonder and feel when they first see all the dinosaurs and you get that epic scope of the music just watching over you while you're looking at the screen and just seeing these wonders for the first time is unbelievable. Like your reaction when you saw that is captivating. It just takes your breath away. And they try to do the same with this, with like one of the dinosaurs, the ones on land, are huge, massive Brontosaurus-esque kind of dinosaurs. They're bigger than probably the Raj Khalif, the biggest building in the world. And they play that sweeping music and the characters get caught up in it. And you're thinking, this is doing absolutely bugger all for me. Why is it not making me go, oh my God, or sweep me off my feet? It's just making me go, well, I've seen that before. I've seen that before over 30 years ago.
That's what I think. It's like I watched Jurassic Park in the theaters in '93. We'd never seen any effects like that. Probably the only ones we'd seen that were in the similar ballpark were Terminator 2 and the water pod from the Abyss. That was like, wow, that's a cool. How the hell did they do that? With the dinosaurs, when Sam Neill and Laura Dern were like, oh my God, look at them dinosaurs. In the audience, we were doing that as well. We're like, how the hell have they managed to make dinosaurs look like this? This is absolutely amazing. Fast forward 30 years, which makes us feel old again. We're kind of used to all these effects. So we've lost the wow. So when characters are like, wow, look at that, we're like, yeah, whatever. Like you said, we've seen it before. Impress me. I don't know how effects can be impressive anymore.
Yeah, we need that, and you would expect somebody like Gareth Edwards to be able to actually do that.
Yeah.
If you're a visual director, you need to be able to make us go, wow. And when you can't do that, you failed one of the biggest elements of the film itself. I think with a Jurassic Park / world film, it needs to have that scale, no pun intended. It needs to have that scope. It needs to add that feel like you're on a roller coaster ride. So it needs that wow factor in it. You need to make sure you've got at least those three elements in your Jurassic film. Then you can sort of like overcome some of the pitfalls. But with Jurassic World Rebirth, it never feels like it's got those moments at all. It just feels like I'll just watch it when it comes out on home release.
Which is where I am with that. Well, I like the Jurassic World movies, but I'm way behind on a lot of films.
Yeah, because
I can wait. I'm all right. I've got a big TV and a soundbar, and
yeah, as a theatrical release, it just didn't feel like for me a theatrical release, which is really frustrating. So for me, Jurassic World Rebirth was a bit of a dud.
Oh no.
The cinema I saw it in was nice. Yeah. So that was a positive. I was nice and comfortable while watching it. So that was nice. If I could fall asleep in a cinema, which I've never been, I've done once, fell asleep in the cinema.
What was it? What were you watching?
George of the Jungle.
Wow. It's a good film, but it's not that.
But as soon as he hit that,
theaters, wow.
As soon as he hit that first tree, that knocked me out. So yeah, it's George of the Jungle put me to sleep. So, but these seats are a hell of a lot more comfortable than the one where I was in, and so it didn't put me to sleep at least. So that was a positive for it.
One that I watched this week, which you probably saw weeks and weeks ago, was Karate Kid Legends. Which
I haven't seen that yet.
I liked it. I was chatting to Rob, friend of mine, and he was looking forward to watching it. And I'm kind of like you. If I know somebody's going to watch something, I won't spoil it. And so I said to him, I'm partway through watching it because I'd like paused it while he phoned me up. And I said, it's a different film than I thought it was going to be because the marketing makes it look like one thing, but it's kind of another. But I prefer the other thing it is as to what I thought it was going to be. I was looking forward to what I figured the film was going to be, but it surprised me and I liked it. It throws back to a lot of the previous Karate Kid, certainly the first one, with its plot line. You go, okay, I guess you've done things like that in other films, and I'm fine with that because that's the way history works. History repeats itself. It isn't a sequel to Cobra Kai. A lot of people were like, oh, I hope all the Cobra Kai kids. It's not that. That's not the sort of film it is. But it's just a fun, popcorn, stupid, entertaining movie, and I really enjoyed it. And then Rob ended up watching it like the day after, and we had a good old conversation. He's like, "Yeah, I liked it too." So it's
It
good.
might be one of those films that I watch in the month of October, because October is sort of like my mop-up month.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'm going to do the 30 films in 30 days again, but it is sort of like my mop-up month of movies that I've released prior, because October as well is horror month. It's where we get absolutely bombarded with horror movies left, right, and center, and there's still some interesting ones to come.
Yeah.
Because they'll be the ones where there's Fantasia Fest is currently happening at the moment, which is a big, huge, massive fantasy film festival in America where they show a lot of horror films, and then you've got Fright Fest as well, and so hopefully some of those horror films will quickly get out there. So there's still quite a few horror films that I do actually want to watch. So I might watch the Karate Kid one in the month of October in my mop-up month.
I would, horror-wise, make sure you put one called Halloween on your.
I've been keeping an eye on Halloween, so I know. I do follow Shogun Films on Facebook.
Yeah.
And it is Shogun, or is it Shotgun?
No, Shogun. Yeah.
Shogun.
Shogun.
Because I keep on looking and going, is there a T there or not?
No T.
Yeah, I've seen them mention it a few times, and so it is on my radar, because I do like a creepy clown movie. So. Yeah. But any horror film anywhere will instantly sort of like fall on my radar, because horror films are my oeuvre.
Yeah, they are. Unlike Superman movies
exactly.
Of years gone by. But no, Karate Kid, Legends, good film. So what else have you got?
I'll throw a couple of quick ones out there. Speaking about horror films, two to quickly throw: Alma and the Wolf and Siam. Alma and the Wolf, that's not the full title. Alma and the Wolf and Siam. So Alma and the Wolf it does exactly what it says on the tin. A wolf seems to be causing havoc in this town, and then a police officer needs to try and investigate. It doesn't actually become a wolf film until the last 15 minutes, because then it completely changes its tone. Okay. There is a wolf involved in like the first 10 minutes of the film, but just like a normal wolf, like a wolf dog that's in those areas. And then it turns into a werewolf film in the last 15 minutes. And I'm thinking, where the hell did they get this from? Did they forget, like in the first 75 minutes, that there was supposed to be a werewolf in the movie? And they thought, oh, well, we need to actually throw a werewolf into the mix.
Yeah.
And so don't go into it expecting a werewolf in the film until the last 15 minutes. And then when you do, it just doesn't make any kind of sense at all. It feels like it's from a different film. So overall, it's a bad film. And Siam is a zombie film that's on Netflix. It's a Korean zombie film set in a hospital, where this sort of like Muay Thai boxer has gone to this hospital to try and rescue his sister, and a zombie outbreak happens in the hospital. It's throwaway stuff. It's Netflix just wanting to grab onto a couple of horror films and just throw it onto their platform just to get people interested. And it's nowhere near the top kind of levels that Korean, kind of Japanese, Chinese horror films can actually be. It's very, very low below the market. The action is very woeful. The zombies are not very well designed. There's a little bit of gore here and there, but overall, it's just a completely forgettable horror film. So 2 horror films to forget about: Alma and the Wolf and Siam.
I've been playing catch up because I've started it. I can't wait till October because forget it, there'll be too many films. I've watched a couple of the Marvel films that I hadn't seen, which is quite a long list, to be fair. I gave up trying to keep up with Marvel stuff the moment they started doing TV shows, and I'm like, no, I'm out. I watched Captain America Brave New World, which came out, didn't make a fortune, but made a nice chunk of money that I'd love to make. Kind of got panned, to be fair. So I went.
I was one of them who panned it.
I didn't mind it. It wasn't great. It wasn't like, wow, this is like the bad Marvel are back, yay! But I watched it and I'm like, it was fine. It was all right. Which I suppose you don't really want that from like a $150-200 million blockbuster. But I didn't mind it. I preferred that to Thunderbolts, which I also watched. Thunderbolts, a lot of people really liked. So I went into that thinking, let's see what's going to come out of this one. And it was probably like halfway through. In fact, even when I got to the end of the film, I'm like, I don't know who some of these characters are. Probably because I've not seen all the Marvel stuff. But with Captain America Brave New World, I kind of knew who everybody was. I knew that Falcon was now America and all that sort of stuff, so I was fine. But Thunderbolts I struggled with. There were elements of it which I thought were... Have you seen Thunderbolts?
Yep.
So when the bad guy starts like dusting people, including little kids and stuff, I'm like, wow, this is super dark. And now I'm in. But all in all, I'm like, I would rather go back and watch Captain America Brave New World than rewatching Thunderbolts.
See, I'm the opposite way around. If you sort of
Most
like have it,
people are.
you know, when you see these tier lists where you've got like A to F and they put things in like tiers to where something would actually be. For me, Captain America Brave New World is an F tier film, and Thunderbolts is an E tier film. It's not a brilliant film at all. It's not even a good film. It's a watchable film, but it's an E tier for me. And Captain America is actually the very close to the bottom of the barrel of Marvel for me, because I just really did not like it.
Yeah, I just seem to be a bit weird on films. It's like some of the films I absolutely love, people universally hate them. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. But maybe my threshold was just really low for Captain America. And so I didn't get the worst film ever. But I thought it was fine. But I'm slowly catching up with the Marvel. I don't have any intention of watching them all. I'm not going to go watch Fantastic Four, for example.
I am. I think I'm going next Saturday after work to see it.
Yeah.
I think just because for me, anywhere I've got unlimited pass.
Yeah.
So I'm spending that money on the unlimited pass, and I'm thinking I'm going to make sure I bloody use this thing.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to get onto another film in a little while where you would only ever go to see it if you've got unlimited pass.
Okay. I look forward to finding out what that one is. I have got a horror film that I've got a screener disc for, and it comes out in like I think 10 days or something. Don't know what the film's about. I've heard of it, never seen it. Where Evil Lurks, or is it When Evil Lurks? One of the two. That one.
That rings a bell.
It is, I don't know whether it's when or where. I think it's When Evil Lurks.
That really does ring a bell.
It's 2023. It's Damien Rugna, probably pronounced that wrong. Argentinian by the looks of it. When Evil Lurks. Beyond that, haven't got a Scooby-Doo what it's about. But I've got a disc of that to sit and watch at some point. So it's kind of
yes,
weird.
I have seen it.
You've seen that one. What's your memories of it? Is it good or is it not good?
If it's the one I'm thinking of, it's a body horror film, if I remember correctly. It's demons in it.
Demons, yep. Landowners, possessions, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, looks to be a demony, horror-y thing.
Yeah, I have seen it, and because we get very, very few demon-based horror films these days, it always seems to be about zombies, vampires, werewolves, things like that. It's nice to have possession films, which I'll get onto a possession film very soon. It's always nice to actually see a film where it is about demons, because I watched on Shudder. It's a Shudder film.
Yeah.
And so if I remember correctly, I think I actually really did like that film.
Okay. Yep.
It came out in 2023 originally.
I think Second Sight, I've got it coming out on the 28th of this month, so I'm fortunate enough to have a disc for it.
I like Second Sight films. I think they're a really good company.
Yeah.
I'm certain I've seen. I'm just trying to search through my letterbox to see if I've got it on my list there to see if I actually rated it. This is fantastic for something live, isn't it? Somebody searching on their letterbox.
It's fine. People can just take a breather and just, and have a bit.
I gave it 3.5 stars.
Okay.
Out of 5. So yeah, I definitely did see it. So it's a very good film, and there is some very creepy elements to that film. So it's kind of film that sort of like creeps under your skin. Mm-hmm. So it's a good film, that one, When Evil Lurks.
Nice. So I've got that coming up in probably next 10 days. So next time we talk, I'll have watched that one. So what else you got? What have you got on your list?
I don't know if you've seen that Heads of State.
No, I haven't. That's on my list. Idris Elba and
John Cena.
John Cena. I like John Cena. I like Idris Elba as well, but yeah. I like to see that.
on Amazon Prime. It's a silly film. It's a silly film. If you go into it with the mindset of a 3-star film, like a
Right.
3-star film where you just want to watch something where it won't tax your brain at all. It's just like the old school kind of popcorn fodder kind of movie.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you get. It does exactly what it says on the tin. The chemistry, they do feed off each other quite well. One's the president, John Cena. One's the prime minister, Idris Elba. Idris Elba as a prime minister is not very good because he's in his 6th year and people are sort of like looking at him going, well, he's not doing very much now for the country and why should he care? Whereas John Cena is an actor turned president,
All right.
very similar to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
So yeah, he's nowhere near as bad as Donald Trump, and I don't think anybody could ever be anywhere as bad as Donald Trump.
No.
And so they get embroiled in somebody trying to kill them, and they have to go on the run. That's just the basic premise. It is an on the run kind of film. Priyanka Chopra Jonas, she's in it as well. She's in it for the first little bit and then disappears and then shows back up again. And she sort of like deals with the chemistry really well. So it's not like a triangle where one element of that triangle is bad. I think they feed off each other quite well. So go into it expecting something silly, popcorn fodder, explosions all over the place, quippies, all that kind of stuff. And I think you'll enjoy it for that. And that's exactly what it is. It's a
That's
leave your
exactly
brain
what
at the door kind of movie.
we need. Films like that sometimes, quite often. To be
Yep.
fair.
I'll quickly throw out The Ritual. That's the Al Pacino, Dan Stevens possession film.
Okay.
It's
Right,
another
I've heard of.
typical one of it's another typical one of those possession films. It came out in the cinema earlier on this year. Completely flew under the radar. I think
Which
it
is
was out for a
weird 'cause
couple
it's
of
Al
weeks and then
Pacino.
disappeared.
It's
I
Al
know.
Pacino. How could an Al Pacino film? Same with the Alto Nights, which I started watching. I just didn't like that film at all. That's a De Niro one that flew under everybody's radar.
You won't like this one neither. Al Pacino's got the weirdest accent in the film. Dan Stevens as well has got a very strange accent in the movie. They both play priests. Dan Stevens is the head of this sort of like convent area, which they need to house a girl who was possessed by a demon. And Al Pacino is the one who's brought in to try and redeem her of the demon. It was a story that happened in America in the 1920s. So it's one of those possession films which is based on a true story, kind of possession films. And so it's stupidly by the book. It's been done a million times before. They do not deviate from the path. They follow exactly the same blueprint. I think they've just gone to Possession 101 school, being there for the first lesson and then just went, oh, I'll make a film now. And that's it. So yeah, it's completely forgettable. I know the wonder it completely flew under the radar because it's a stupidly forgettable film.
Okay.
And then on to my last two, which is I Know What You Did Last Summer, so the new one, and Smurfs.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's go. I Know What You Did Last Summer because that looks more interesting to me. To be fair, I've only seen the first two films when they came out. I think there was a third one, wasn't there? And I don't think.
I'll always know what you did last summer. You really don't want to watch that one. It's like watching
Wrong Turn.
It's like watching the third Urban Legend film.
Oh, okay.
Because there's 3 Urban Legend films.
Yeah.
And the only thing I remember about the third Urban Legend film, because the second one's called Bloody Mary, and the third one, I remember there's a scene in a sort of like a mine shaft. And that's the only thing I remember of that film. Okay. And I'll always know what you did last summer is just the taking the idea from the first film and just done that. Surprisingly, that's what this does. I Know What You Did Last Summer. It takes the idea from the first film because it's a legacy sequel. Yep. So there's a difference between a normal sequel and a legacy sequel. A legacy sequel is a film that features a couple of members from the original film in this film. So very similar to what they've done with like Scream 5 and 6, bringing like maybe it's like a character from the past.
Jurassic World Dominion. Would that be a sequel?
Not really. It's sort of like, even though it's got some of the characters from that, it's not technically classified as a legacy sequel because it's just part of the World trilogy. Mad Max Fury Road is technically classified as a legacy sequel. So that's on like the top end kind of situation. Stop me if you've heard this before. July 4th, Independence Day, 5 teenagers. In this case here, they're not at school. They're actually out of school. 2 of them are actually potentially going to get married, so an engagement party. They go to watch the July 4th fireworks. One of them's in the middle of a road. A car swerves, ends up crashing into a barrier, goes over a cliff. Fast forward 1 year later, they're getting picked off by a man in a sort of like a fishing sort of like costume kind of
Does he
thing
have a hook?
with a hook.
Wow.
He has a hook.
Wow.
And so they get picked off potentially one by one because they know what they did last summer.
Wow.
And they do get that ominous note, I know what you did last summer. A couple of them seek the help of Jennifer Love Hewitt's character from the original, and also Freddie Prinze's Jr. character, who never moved away from the town. He remained in the town.
Wow. Silly move.
So, yeah, and so they seek the help of those 2 to try and discover who the killer is, who's picking them off one by one. So it follows the same kind of blueprint as the first one. The characters are very insufferable. They're very one-dimensional characters. There's no depth to them whatsoever. There's one who's the typical blonde ditzy character, who is she's like swimming in money. She's got tons of money, but her intelligence is barely 2 figures on her IQ.
Right.
You've got the jock kind of guy. The jock kind of guy is not an arrogant jock. He just thinks that he's a jock. And then you've got one who's just come back to the town because of the troubles that's happened with what happened on July the 4th. And so the stereotypical characters that stereotypically get picked off one by one by a killer who does not know how to kill people other than sticking a hook in them. And that's it. There is no inventive kills in this. There is no tension in this. The humor falls flat. As I said, the characters are one-dimensional. It's very plodding at times. The worst thing that it does is it constantly goes back to the original film. Like, there is a scene where you see a photograph of Ryan Phillip here and Sarah Michelle Gellar's characters, who, spoilers, died in the first film.
Yeah.
And so there's a scene where there's a photograph of them, and you've got Jennifer Love Hewitt just slightly to the side of it. And then the camera pans to the 2 characters who are having a conversation. And then it pans back to that photo. It does that a lot in the film. Like, it constantly mentions the characters from the first one.
The audience for this new one, I'm guessing they weren't the people like us that watched the original in '97, would they? You would think the film's kind of marketed towards the similar age that we were when the first one came out to us. So it's like half of the people who watch this new one probably haven't even seen the first one. They probably don't even know there is a first one, to be fair.
Exactly. It's supposed to sort of like reinvigorate the franchise, because it's been a while since the last I Know What You Did Last Summer film, because it died with I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, because even I Still Know What You Did Last Summer got a theatrical release. I Always Know What You Did Last Summer went straight to DVD. So it got thrown into the bargain bin immediately. And this was sort of like, oh, we've grabbed the franchise. Sony has sort of like rebooted it. It's pretty much what Sony is doing a lot at the moment. Let's release a legacy sequel. Let's feature 2 characters in this film from the original film, just to sort of like get those ones on board who've actually seen I Know What You Did Last Summer. But let's make the cast of characters very similar to the ones from that one, but a different bunch in the same town. And let's just mention every like 10 minutes, just in case people forget that this is a legacy sequel, that there is 3 films prior to that, even though it never mentions elements from the 3rd film. And so it just shoves that down your throat constantly. And with, like I said, flat characters as much as they are in this film, it just doesn't work on that point. The music scores is so frustrating. It's one of those horror films where it signals when a scare is coming, when a jump scare is coming. Like, you get a bit of quiet and you know that the fisherman character is going to be behind them or in front of them or going to throw something at them. And then all of a sudden, the music comes up. Stop it. Just stop doing it. It doesn't work. You think it's going to scare people. It just doesn't work anymore. It might have done it 30 years ago because it was still fresh, but you do it now and just people are going to go, well, I might get some more popcorn, or do you think I can go to the toilet and not miss something? So it's a pointless film. I just don't know why it's actually made.
It's
If they
money.
try to do
Probably
something
to keep
different,
the IP, isn't it? Like you've got to make a film every few years, or you lose the goes back. Because didn't Kevin Williamson back? Has he come back again? I'm sure he has.
yeah, he's directing the new Scream,
Right.
Kevin Williamson. But if they did something slightly different, even if they did a Scream 3 and went meta,
Yeah.
with I know what you did last summer, didn't set it in the town where the first one was set it in a different area. Still, you could have done on the 4th of July, but there's a serial killer copycatting, or the person who supposedly is dead is
Yeah.
copycatting what has happened in that town. Or if you did something a little bit different with it, because I know they tried to do that with I Still Know What You Did Last Summer by relocating it on a tropical island, which, by the way, that gets mentioned in this one briefly offhand, because it's Jennifer Love Hewitt's character who mentions it briefly offhand, but it still gets a mention on that. She even does her iconic line, "What are you waiting for?" You know, when she stands in the middle of the road, "What are you waiting for?"
Yeah.
She sees that in this film, and as soon as she said that, I just felt like going, "God's sakes!"
Oops.
So, yeah, it's just not very good.
It's got to be better than Smurfs, though, isn't it?
It is, because Smurfs is really bad.
Yeah. Saw the trailer. I'm like, why? I didn't even want to watch the trailer, let alone
It
any
is.
to watch the movie.
It hasn't been the best year for animation. Like, because technically for me, I can still use Flow as the best animated film of 2025 because it got a theatrical release in the UK in 2025. And it is a million miles away from the Smurfs when it comes to quality Flow. And Flow was actually created in Blender, which is a
Mm.
piece of software on your computer. And so
Yeah.
it was created in Blender that physically we can actually go and download and actually use it ourselves, because the directors of it actually used the free version of Blender, so they didn't even pay for Blender to
Even
actually
better.
use it.
Even better. A friend
This,
of Rob, my friend of mine, he uses Blender. He's teaching himself to make video games or whatever the hell he's doing.
yeah. So this is it's just shocking that you can see an animated film where it's got a big studio behind it, with big money, Paramount in this case here, with big money to try and create an animated film for the younger audience, where it looks 10 million times worse than a film that was created in Blender. The basic storyline is that, again, in every single Smurfs film, Papa Smurf is kidnapped, and it's up to the Smurfs to try and go through portals and time after a Smurf called No Name, who does not have a name, which is voiced by James Corden. Surprise, a fucking
Oh
surprise.
no. Yeah.
Even though Rihanna is front and center on the poster, her name is plastered on the poster of Smurfs, the main character in this is actually James Corden's character. Rihanna just does the musical numbers. And so him along with Smurfs have to go through normal worlds, like into our normal world, to try and find Papa Smurf, to try and stop these evil people who sort of like follow Gargamel, so that more evil than Gargamel, from retrieving these four magical books where they can reign evil across galaxies. And that's the story. The animation is ugly. It is really ugly. Like, it uses this 2D with black outlines around it with some 3D elements to it to make it look sharp and bright and popping, and it doesn't pop at all. The musical numbers are awful. The dialogue is atrociously bad. They even have a Smurf, which is sort of like called Censor Smurf, and they think they're smart near the end of the film where they supposedly have an expletive. And as soon as James Corden's Smurf character says something, Censor Smurf actually speaks, and so you get a bleep. And that's supposed to be edgy and funny.
Is that probably
Um,
the funniest thing in the movie? Though, be like,
no, because nothing in the
no,
movie is funny.
nothing.
I know, I understand it's a U-rated movie,
Yeah.
so I am definitely not the target audience for it. I am way beyond the target audience from it. But that's not to say why should the target audience just only be very young children for a U-rated film? The
Yeah.
amount of U-rated
It never was
films,
with Pixar, was it?
no,
Pixar impressed children and impressed everybody else as well with a lot of their stuff.
the amount of U-rated films that I've seen that are actually just supposedly solely aimed at children, and that
Hmm.
they're not. There's a load of them, like Paddington, Flow. Flow was rated U. Even Watership Down, but that was wrongly
Yeah,
rated.
that's a different time. That's a very
That
different.
that's had two certificate
Yeah.
changes in its time. It's now a 12 year. So
Is it really?
even
Is
that,
it 12A now? Wow.
yeah, it's classified as a
I'm not
12.
not surprised.
Yeah, it definitely never should have been a U, that film. But it is one of the worst films I've seen this year. Easily one of the worst films this year. It's the worst animated film I've seen this year.
Yeah.
Apart from, there is one film I've seen this year, and I cannot remember the name of it. It's so forgettable. It was created in Unreal Engine 5.
Okay.
It's an animated film, and films cannot be created in Unreal Engine 5 because it's a video game platform. It's like trying to fully create a video game with inside Blender alone. Blender is good for doing movie stuff, but you need something behind it to be able to create the sort of like elements to do the video game part.
Yeah.
This is a film that's created only in Unreal Engine 5, and I cannot remember the name of it, and it's probably going to not. I don't even think I've got it on my Letterboxd because it was a film that, if I remember correctly, wasn't even on Letterboxd.
Oh
So if I
God.
remember it, I will see it. But this is the worst animated film I've seen since the Emoji Movie.
Yeah, that didn't look good. Um, yeah, I was trying to find what this film was that was made in Unreal, but nope, can't find it.
Yeah, I haven't got it in my letterbox because I remember it's not on Letterboxd. It was because it surprised me that it was not on Letterboxd. I've got it wrote down because I write all my films down that I've actually seen.
Yeah,
And it's on Amazon Prime, and that's
and it
all I
was
can see.
terrible by the sound of it. So
Unless I get my list with the films on it, because it really is going. I'm going to do that. Screw it. Hold the
put
fort
it to
for a
bed.
couple of seconds. You
So
won't see me, but you can still hear me.
if anybody is eagerly awaiting to find out what crap film you must avoid, Stu will return in a few minutes. For
Yeah,
those,
I'm still
here
I'm
he's
still
back.
here.
For those on audio, Stu did run out of the room to get his list. He has an actual physical list.
Yep. See, look,
Nice. Wow.
physical lists. I still write
Nice.
them down. It's called Beneath.
Okay. Yeah.
It's got such a generic title like Beneath, because I watched a film as well called Shattered, which I'm not going to go over that film, but it's got such a generic title like Beneath that I couldn't find that one on Letterboxd. But yeah, it's on Prime. It's one of those kind of films, when you end up watching like random horror films or random crap on Prime, and then it goes, "We suggest you watch this." And I saw it, and I saw, oh, it was created within Unreal Engine 5, and I think only one person had left a review of it. I should have actually looked at that review because it was a 1 star. And then I watched it and I gave it a 1. So I agreed with that person.
Yeah.
It's that bad. But if I don't include that, Smurfs is the worst animated film of the year so far.
How's your we don't need to know what it is, but how's your top films of the year list looking so far? Have you got some that will probably be in there by the end of the year, or are you still hoping that there's things to come out that will go on the list?
Yeah, well, you've got Frankenstein, the
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro film that's out in December. You've got Weapons, which is out in a couple of weeks' time, which I
That looks
cannot
really
wait
good.
for that film.
Yeah, that
The
looks
Zach, yeah, I really, really cannot wait for that film because it looks so creepy and eerie. So there's that. There's a few other films, like there's a horror film coming out on Shudder next week called House of Eden, which looks really good. Can't wait for that. So there are still films, but a couple of the films that are in my list of films of the year so far: Nosferatu, right at the start of the year, A Real Pain, which I was surprised that I actually really liked.
It's on my list to watch. I know it's on Disney.
September 5,
Mm, I really enjoyed that one. That's my type
which
of
is
movie. It's my type of film.
which is a fantastic film. Last Breath, which I actually really did like,
Yeah, I remember you talking about
um,
that.
and Warfare.
Yeah, Warfare is good. That's in my list as well.
Warfare is definitely in my list. Bring Her Back is the best horror film so far I've seen this year.
On my
That's
list to watch.
official.
Yep.
It's officially out in cinemas on Friday. It was
Okay.
brought forward by a week. So
Right.
even though we had to wait a while, it's officially out on Friday. And honestly, it is one of the most dark, depressing dour horror films you'll see this year. Easily, it's stupidly depressing, that film, but it is brilliant. It's very, and there is one scene in it which will make you wince, and they go into very grave detail in regards to it as well. But I highly recommend Bring Her Back.
Because that was out in
As a
the
matter
US
of
a little while back, wasn't it? A few weeks or
yeah,
months back or something.
as a matter of fact, even though I really like Talk to Me, because Talk to Me I thought was a fantastic film as well. I think this one's slightly better than Talk to Me.
Oh wow, okay.
So the Philippou brothers are actually gone upwards rather than gone downwards slightly in quality.
Good.
So yeah, I highly recommend Bring Her Back, because it is my favorite horror film of the year. But Weapons might give it a bit of a challenge, because it looks awesome, that film.
How about Sinners? Is that in your?
Sinners is not in my. It might be sort of like, if it's going to be in my top 10, it might be in the bottom half of me list, because I gave that a 3.5 out of 5, and so I only look at fours or above for now, and then I'll go down to the 3.5s. That's the reason why I do halves now rather than just whole numbers, because it helps me at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So because I did find a few problems with Sinners, so out of 10, I would have given it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
But I still really like the film.
Yeah.
So it might be in the bottom half, depending on how many other good films I do see this year, which at the rate I'm going currently at the moment, it'll be in my top 10, because I'm not seeing good films, unfortunately.
No, there's a lot of okay films, I think, and obviously there's a lot of films that you haven't enjoyed, but I've got my top 10 of the year because I've seen 10 films that have come out this year. Now I get to the point where I start kicking ones out when I watch good ones and so on. That's generally the way that I build mine. I mean, Flight Risk was in my list until last week, and actually that's gone now. That's
Flight
because
Risk,
I had seen so few films that had come out in 2025. It's like, well, that's one. But that was
I was going to say,
weird
ironically, Flight Risk is in my bottom list.
Yeah, I can understand why.
Because I hated that film. What I'm not going to do though is, because the amount of Mickey Mouse and Popeye films that I've seen, I am not going to do it. I might do, just for funsies, a list, list them from best, if you can see it, best
least
to worst.
Least worst to worst. Yeah.
Yeah, so I might do that, but when I do my worst 10 list, I might just look at one from the Mickey Mouse ones or one from the Popeye ones to include in my worst 10 films of the year list, because if I include them all, the list would probably be predominantly those.
It would be that, wouldn't it? Be like Winnie the Pooh film. I don't think we've got one of those, because 2 was last year, wasn't it?
No, because the Pooniverse one is being delayed, because Bambi the Reckoning still has not been released yet.
Right.
That is out next month, because it was constantly getting pushed back. It's getting a theatrical release, a couple of day theatrical release, and then there's still Pinocchio Unstrung to come out before the Pooniverse United movie comes out.
Fair play to them for making money, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What can you possibly say about those movies? I don't know.
Yeah.
So what have you got lined up? What are you going to be watching soon? Have you got, like, with this coming week or whatever? Obviously, we're doing this show and then you're away next weekend. What are you going to watch between now and then?
Because unfortunately, I'm working next weekend, so that's why I couldn't do it next weekend. And the weekend after that, it's my work summer party, so I couldn't do it then neither. Movie wise, I don't know, because I'm on a weird shift during the week, and so I don't know what time I've got to be able to actually watch films. I think it's probably just going to be that thing that once I finish work, I'm just going to play video games rather than just watch films and just stick Twitch on in the background.
What are you playing at the minute?
Well, I finished Dead Island 2, which was fun. I've got a Switch 2.
Oh yeah.
So I was one of those people who actually bought a Switch 2.
You had a Switch. You had a Switch 1, didn't you?
Yes. So
how does it compare?
What I've got a Switch 2, a Steam Deck, and a PS5. That's what I've got. But yeah, the leaps and bounds when it comes to graphics and stuff like that. Like, you can definitely feel like, on the surface, if you just look them side by side, you just look at the Switch 2 and it looks like a bigger version of the Switch, which it is, because the screen's an 8-inch screen. And that's it. But if you dig more deeper below it, there's like graphical power is leaps and bounds over the Switch. It's more like akin to an Xbox Series S or a PS4 style graphics in your hand. So there's that. The controllers, it feels a lot more sturdy. Like they don't slide down anymore. They clip in with magnets, and they feel like there's strength beside it. Like even if you try to grip hold to the sides and try to pull them off, they won't, because you've got these two little switches on the back where you have to press them to release them. So there's that. It runs at 120 hertz at 4K if you wanted to when it's docked. In handheld mode, it can run at 1080p, 60 frames per second. So yeah, you can definitely tell leaps and bounds graphically wise and things like that. It's head and shoulders above what the Switch could do. And so I've currently only got two Switch 2 games for it because there's not many of them out. It's only been out like 2 months now. But I've got Mario Kart Worlds, and I've just getting Donkey Kong Bonanza, the new Donkey Kong game. That only just came out 2 days ago. So I've got that. But yeah, it's a lovely piece of kit. I've always been a Nintendo fanboy anyway. I had a NES, a SNES. I've had Game Boys, Game Boy Advances, 3DSs, GameCubes, N64. I even had a Wii U.
Yeah.
And the Switch. So I was a Nintendo fanboy. So I was obviously going to get a Switch too.
How does it feel in your hands? Because it's physically bigger. Is it
easier to hold?
But is it like weighted where it's a case?
No.
No.
It feels slightly heavier than the Switch, but it's easier to hold, I find, because I found the Switch, because of how big it is, it's only around about that big. Like my tablet that I'm recording this on is bigger screen than the Switch.
Right.
And so I feel like the Switch 2 is slightly more easier to hold because the way they've sort of like done the Joy-Cons, there's slightly a little bit more curves around it, so you can hold it onto it a little bit better. Compared to my Steam Deck is a lot more heavier than the Switch 2 to hold. And so that one, you could hold it maybe for an hour and then you get cramp in your wrist.
Yeah.
But with the Switch 2, you can hold it for a good period of time without feeling like it's going to snap your wrists in half.
It's like with my iPad, if I'm holding it for any reasonable time, it kind of, you want to put it on a desk or something. But,
yeah.
So I was curious about the Switch. But is that your console of choice at the minute? Obviously, it's the newest one you've got. Is that the one you're spending most of the time on?
I back and forth between my PS5 and the Switch 2 because the Switch 2 have sort of like different feeling games compared to the PS5. So if I want to play like a really serious game, like I've just downloaded a game called Flintlock, which is a Souls-like kind of game. I'll play it on my PS5. But if I want to play something where I just want a quick session or something like I've got half an hour, I'll boot up my Switch 2 and play Mario Kart or Donkey Kong Bonanza.
Backwards compatible from Switch 2?
Yes, fully.
Well done. Good. Thank you, Nintendo. And are they still, obviously there'll be a digital store or whatever.
Yep.
They still release physical games, or is it all digital?
Yeah, there's still, but there's 3 versions of games now you can get through the Switch. Yeah, so you've got the cartridges, the Switch 1 and Switch 2 cartridges. Mm-hmm. You've got digital games, and you've got digital cards. Okay. Which the smart thing about these digital cards is you can swap them between Switch 2 and Switches as well. So, for example, my friend who's just become a parent for the second time, he had a baby boy 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I gave him my Switch, so he had something to play. And so instead of him having to fully download all the games and stuff like that, having his own account, he just logged into my account and I transferred the digital card of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate from my Switch 2 over to the Switch so he could play it. Like Mario Kart Worlds, actually you can stream it from your Switch 2 onto the Switch. So if he's in the same room as me, he can play Mario Kart Worlds on the Switch and I can play it on the Switch too, but it's streamed.
Yeah.
And so these digital cards, a lot of people don't like them, but I think they're quite smart in the way you can transfer them. So when you if you've got like kids in the household and you've got more than one Switch, you don't have to rebuy the game again. Yeah. So one kid could be going, oh, well, I want to play Luigi's Mansion 3 from the Switch. And the other kid can go, well, I want to play Mario Kart Worlds. So the digital card, you just eject the digital card on the Switch 2, transfer it over to the Switch 1, which is so easy to do. Mm-hmm. You just click on it. You just say where you want to transfer it to. So transfer it over to the Switch. You click on the switch and it transfers it over automatically. You don't even need that switch to be switched on for it to transfer over. So when they load that up, that kid could be playing Luigi's Mansion 3 while the other one is playing Mario Kart Worlds, and you've only bought one copy of each.
Nice. Saving money, then you just buy a different game. So you're
Yeah.
still Nintendo's still getting your money, but you're getting more games for it.
They have this fantastic way of sharing things as well. So if my friend who lives a good 25 minutes from where I live, I could share my game with him from where I'm sitting. If I could invite him into a multiplayer lobby of, say, a Mario Kart World, I could have a camera and we can watch each other. So we can have the camera stream on the bottom part of the screen, and the top part of the screen is our gameplay. And so it does some really intuitive and very interesting things. So it's a nice piece of kit.
Yeah, worth the money. So you're happy with it?
Yeah, we'll see. Ask us in about 6 months' time when more games has come out, because it's just shy of £400 for it. So it is quite costly. I'm seeing that. I'm getting a new phone in a couple of days' time, and that
it's like a lot more than 400 quid.
Yeah, it's like an £1,800 phone.
Wow.
But I've got that on contract though, so that's the difference. I bought the Switch completely outright. I'm not made of money. I can't pull £1,800 outright for a phone.
No.
So I've got that coming in a couple of days' time. But yeah, £400 is still a lot. But it's not as expensive as people making it out to be, considering Microsoft are releasing their own version of the ROG Ally X. And that they haven't dropped the price of that yet, but it's looking between the base level one to be around about 600, and the more highfalutin top end one is be around about £800-900 for a handheld.
I'm not buying that. No.
So ridiculously priced.
I will keep my PS5 and my Xbox X until they blow up, and then I'll think about replacing one. Until then, I'm good. I don't use my PS5 as much as I'd like to anyway, and I've not played a game on the X. That's the one Annette uses for all her Lego games and stuff. So it's just like, no. I wish I played video games more, but there's just too many movies to try and watch.
Speaking about that, one quick little thing. Have you seen about the Odyssey?
Yeah. Who buys a ticket 1 year in advance?
Yeah, the IMAX screenings are all sold out for at least the first weekend.
It's like, I mean, I'll watch a Christopher Nolan film, but it's not one of those directors where I'm like, oh, good, he's doing another film. I cannot wait how many days till it comes out. It'll come out and I'll watch it and I'll probably like it, and I probably won't be able to hear the dialogue half the time because he doesn't know how to do a sound mix. But yeah, I saw this Odyssey thing, and it's like people are selling or reselling the tickets on eBay and stuff. He's like, why? Nobody's going to struggle to see the Odyssey. You don't see it today, you just watch it tomorrow. But that's insane.
Yeah. The trailer, you could only see it in IMAX attached to copies of Jurassic World Rebirth, which I've got a technically my cinema screening is an IMAX screen. There's one in my cinema, but I didn't see it on that screen. Jurassic World Rebirth, I just saw it on the normal screen, so I didn't get the trailer.
So you didn't go home cry? Do you not feel like something from your life is missing, that you've not seen this trailer 1 year before the film comes out? Or
well, I'm going to specifically phone them up and ask them, see if they can open one screen just so I can see the trailer, and then I'll leave.
Same.
But
I saw that, and it's like, it's just insane. People are just losing their minds nowadays, if in fact they've got one.
And the other thing that I saw that was slightly insane, it's just a piece of news that's just not long dropped, is Taika Waititi is doing a new Judge Dredd movie.
He is. Yep. Is he though? He's apparently doing a Star Wars one as well, and that's not coming out.
Yep.
So who knows? I don't know.
He hasn't directed a film in a while. So it's ever since Thor: Love and Thunder. Yeah. Which we know how that turned out to be.
Yeah, that was bad. I think that was one of the films where I started to fall out with Marvel. I'm like, no, they've lost their golden chip or whatever. But a new Judge Dredd thing, I'm okay with that. It's fine. I'm not buying tickets a year in advance or anything like that. But
the only problem is it's going to be Taika Waititi-fied.
Yeah.
So he's going to try and make it very similar to the Sylvester Stallone cheesy film rather than Dredd.
The Garland one.
The Carl Urban one.
And the Dredd Stallone one was fine in 1995. It's just not fine now. I haven't been back and rewatched it, and I quite like Stallone, but no, I'm not
Yeah,
holding my breath for a new.
I haven't seen that film in years because I have no intention of watching that film
Rob
at
Schneider,
all.
in one of his early
Ugh,
roles.
such a bad actor.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the next film I watch will be When Evil Lurks. Other than that, I've got some screeners to watch. Like Poseidon is coming out in 4K, so I've got a disc of that, which I've seen the film before. I prefer the original one, but Thief is coming out from Arrow. Arrow just have sent me a little batch of screener discs, which is amazing because they're really hard to get hold of now. With screener discs, most companies don't even bother. So
Yeah,
it's quite nice to get them because they have all the extra features on and commentaries and stuff. So
nice.
that is my week. So what are you up to this evening after we wrap up?
Probably.
Playing some Switch.
I might just see what's on Twitch, see if somebody's streaming something to take me interest on Twitch because it is really warm still, despite the fact here in Sunderland that it feels like I'm actually in the tropics, like I'm actually in Africa somewhere or something like that. Like there's very thick fog outside. The wind is quite rough. I got absolutely drenched walking back from I know what you did last summer this afternoon, and that was the best thing about my day. And the rain just hasn't stopped, but yet
Yeah,
it's
it's warm.
still
Yeah.
extremely muggy and warm. I've got two fans on in my bedroom. It's that warm. So I'm just going to try my best to see if I can cool myself down before even attempting to try and get sleep.
How's your cat coping in this warm weather?
At the moment, he's sort of like on the carpet, just not far from where I'm sitting currently at the moment, staring into the abyss.
Wow. It's cooler
So,
down there though, isn't it? Our cat sleeps on the carpet at the minute, and
yeah,
it's like, why are you sleeping there when you've got couches? It's because it's cooler. So
he has his, because I created a little bed for him under my bed using an old duvet that I was going to throw out. But I thought, you know what, I'll put it in a duvet cover that I no longer use and turn into a little bed for him.
yeah,
So that's his sort of like getaway kind of area. And I think it's slightly more cooler under the bed than it is
yeah.
above because the fan that I've got is a floor fan, and it's not one of the circular ones. It's just like a floor fan itself,
So
and I only get like the little top part of it that blows in my direction, and he gets like the
get
rest
it
of the three
all.
quarters of it. So he's just going, I'm nice
Yeah.
and cool, and there's me going, I hate myself.
Cats have a way of just becoming the boss of the house, whether you want it or not. Really.
He did it first year. He actually got in this flat, so
Yeah.
he said, "This is my territory. You buy me everything that I want: a water fountain, two cat paws, a cat tree, and really nice food, and you can live off noodles." Fine,
Yeah.
okay.
You tell people you've got a cat, and the cat tells people that he has a Stuart.
Yep, a human.
So yeah. Right, I shall leave you to it for now. Enjoy your evening. Say hi to your cat for me, and I hope the week treats you well. Other than next weekend because you're working, but I hope that goes really fast. And we will catch up when you're free again.
Yeah, catch up sometime in August.
Definitely.
How bad
August
does
only.
that sound? That we're
It's
getting near to the end of the year.
19th of July now, so we're getting there towards the end.
I know, but you have a good evening yourself as well.
You too. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye.